CBS 6 News at 5 starts with a breaking news alert.
At this point, we don't believe there are any. And we have recovered 27 people from the plane and 1 from the helicopter.
It is one of the most shocking tragedies to impact our state, our region, and our nation in years. A deadly collision between an Army helicopter and a commercial passenger plane on approach to Reagan National Airport in Arlington, Virginia. As the investigation develops, we're learning new details about last night's crash that claimed dozens of lives. I'm Cheryl Miller.
And I'm Julie Bragg. It's believed all perished. Recovery efforts continue in the Potomac River, where it is believed that 67 people are dead due to that midair crash. CBS 6 has multiple crews in Northern Virginia to cover this disaster. Anchor Janine Samuels joins us live from Reagan National Airport in Arlington to lead our team coverage. Janine?
That's right, Cheryl and Julie. We are actually on the Virginia side of the river this evening, though technically the crash site is considered the jurisdiction of Washington, D.C. Now, emotions continue to run high here, obviously, as crews spent the day searching the river for the bodies of the passengers and crew members from American Eagle Flight 5342 and the 3 soldiers that were in the Black Hawk helicopter. Now, my colleague Elizabeth Holmes and I will have more on the reaction to the tragedy in just a moment. But first, we want to send it to CBS News correspondent Erica Brown with the very latest on the investigation.
Recovery efforts on the Potomac River continued Thursday afternoon in one of the deadliest U.S. aviation accidents in recent history. CCTV captured the moment when an Army Black Hawk helicopter collided with an American Airlines regional jet as it prepared to land at Reagan National Airport last night.
At this point, we don't believe there are any survivors from this accident.
The National Transportation Safety Board is leading the investigation into how the collision occurred.
We have not recovered the flight data recorders yet. We know they're there. They are underwater.
President Trump appeared in the briefing room requesting a moment of silence for the victims.
We are one family, and today we are all heartbroken. We're all searching for answers.
He then quickly pointed a finger at the previous administration's hiring practices.
The FAA is actively recruiting workers who suffer severe intellectual disabilities, psychiatric problems, and other mental and physical conditions under a diversity and inclusion hiring initiative.
Democrats pushed back.
For the President of the United States to throw out idle speculation as bodies are still being recovered and families still being notified. It just turns your stomach.
Flights have resumed here at Reagan National Airport after they were paused for nearly 14 hours, though several hundred were canceled and others delayed.
American Eagle Flight 5342 originated in Wichita, Kansas, where a prayer service was held Thursday.
But the only way that we will get through this is together.
Officials say flight conditions were clear Wednesday night. Erica Brown, CBS News, Arlington, Virginia.
Now, CBS News has confirmed that 1 air traffic control worker was managing the helicopters and planes, a job that is normally done by 2 people. Now, some of Virginia's top leaders have been reacting to the news of the crash. Here's what they had to say.
As the first light touched the Potomac River Thursday morning, Virginians and the rest of the nation got their first real glimpse of the stunning crash site and a rescue operation that had sadly shifted into recovery mode.
We offer our profound condolences to them and our sorrow for this tragedy.
During a morning news conference, the anguish could be read on the faces of the Commonwealth's congressional delegation and also heard in their voices.
I was coming back from the district from a dinner to my home in Old Town Alexandria. And while I did not see the collision, I wondered, I'd never seen this many red lights streaming towards the airport and across the river in Maryland about this time.
A common theme amongst the officials and lawmakers was praise for the selflessness of the first responders and how cities and counties from across the region were quick to send help when the proverbial alarm was sounded.
People came from as far away as Baltimore, Fairfax County.
An altruistic attitude, Senator Tim Kaine says, reminded him of things he witnessed during his early days in government.
Even in the midst of a tragedy, it does give you a sense of appreciation and pride in people's willingness to come to the danger and work together. And I started to see that as a local official 30 years ago in Richmond, and definitely have seen it here.
The Army helicopter involved in the collision was based at Fort Belvoir, a Virginia Army installation about 17 miles south of Reagan National Airport.
The Black Hawk belonged to B Company, Bravo Company, 12th Aviation Battalion. Again, that has been grounded for 48 hours, an operational pause.
Governor Glenn Youngkin among those wanting answers about the cause of the collision, but saying the immediate focus should be on the victims and their loved ones.
There are lots of questions, lots of really important questions to be answered, but the work today is to make sure that everyone is recovered and that families are given the tremendous support that they will need.
Something echoed by his colleagues on the other side of the aisle.
There'll be a time to figure out what happened and how we rectify it, but today our thoughts and prayers ought to be with the families and, again, thanking our first responders.
This crash is bringing back haunting memories for a woman who lives in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. She remembers a terrible plane crash there more than 40 years ago, and she's sharing her voice with our Elizabeth Holmes, who is live outside Reagan National Airport. Liz?
We've talked with a lady who lived in the greater Washington area for her entire life, and when she heard the news of the plane crash, it sent her right back to 1982 when a plane leaving Reagan National crashed into the 14th Street Bridge and then landed into the Potomac. It was a flight that she says she was almost on.
I hear a plane crashed in the Potomac, and that took me back because it takes me back to the Air Florida flight.
Jean Mallon remembers January 13th, 1982 clearly.
The Air Florida jetliner crashed into the Potomac River at 3:55 yesterday afternoon.
The day Air Florida Flight 90, leaving Reagan National, crashed into the 14th Street Bridge and into the Potomac. The flight she was nearly on.
Normally we flew Air Florida, but we didn't because we got a cheaper rate on another airline that no longer exists, People's Express, and we were going to leave the next day.
A familiar feeling of pain and sorrow returned 43 years and 16 days later when a military helicopter crashed into an American Airlines flight coming into Reagan.
Everybody who called was hysterical. A next-door neighbor called. She was hysterical. And by the time I was through with it, I was just like, it was more than I could bear. So it was like all of that came tumbling back, with this last night, and it's just awful.
Mallon says the area is always flooded with air traffic.
I mean, I'm not an expert at this, but, it just doesn't look right.
CBS 6 did talk to a source familiar with military flight in the area who said the busy flight patterns are normal and navigating them is part of military training. Mallon wonders, though, if it was just a matter of time before something like this happened.
I mean, it's just an awful, horrible thing that has happened. And it hurts. It hurts everybody. It's like your chest hurts from all the, it's pain that you feel for other people. And it shows the empathy that as Americans we do have for one another.
Now, the source that we spoke with said there were likely multiple errors or last-minute changes that may have led up to all of this. He said changes in just mere feet when both aircraft were in the air could have made the difference. In Washington, I'm Elizabeth Holmes, CBS 6 News.
And now, obviously, this investigation is still ongoing, and there are so many unanswered questions. But one question most people have today is how could this crash have even happened? Our Melissa Hippolyte spoke to a man who flew planes for decades and sees if he could provide any insight to this incident. Melissa, what did you find out from him?
Janine, I talked to a retired United Airlines pilot with 60 years of experience flying planes, and he explained to me how the airspace at Reagan National Airport works and what potentially may have happened that led to the crash. Captain Ross Amer said he was not surprised to hear about the crash and said he had been warning folks about something like this happening for years because the air traffic system is so busy it's to the point of breaking. He said at Reagan National, an extremely large amount of planes are constantly landing and taking off from an airport with short runways that was not designed for modern times. And while that's happening, helicopters are crisscrossing the airspace. These can be military helicopters like the one involved in the crash, police helicopters, and even news helicopters. He compared the helicopters to humans on bicycles trying to cross a busy freeway. Why hasn't anything been done about this in the past? Why was this just allowed to happen where you've got this set up with so many planes and then these crisscrossing helicopters?
We rely on the excellence, like I said, of the air traffic controllers and the pilots that commit miracles every day. And we depend on some technology. And you ask why we allow that. It's just, if we don't, then everything goes to stop. The only way you could take care of it is just to stop all the traffic, which we can't.
Now, Captain Amer said he didn't want to speculate about the cause of the crash, but based on air traffic control radio traffic he has heard, it sounds like the airplane was approaching one particular runway, but then was told to land on another runway at the last minute, so the pilot switched course to that runway. At the same time, the helicopter was approaching, and the pilot told air traffic control when asked if he saw the airplane that yes, he had visual separation. But Amer believes the pilot must have been looking at something else or seeing something else as opposed to the plane that he ended up crashing into. Ahead at 6, you'll hear from a Virginia Tech professor who explains why the rules could change on allowing pilots to use that visual separation and what technology may be mandated for all aircraft going forward. I'm Melissa Hippolyte for CBS 6.
Now, even though this occurred in the Potomac River right outside of Reagan National Airport in Northern Virginia, state lawmakers who are still at work on Capitol Square in Richmond are reacting to the news of the tragedy here in D.C. Our Cameron Thompson shares their voices.
Prayers to the families. This is a tough day for Virginia and the nation.
A somber day at the state capitol.
It's an awful tragedy. We don't really have a lot of information yet, but my thoughts are with the families of the people who perished last night.
As state lawmakers work through session while watching the aftermath of Wednesday night's crash in Northern Virginia. State Senator Adam Ebbin represents the district that surrounds Reagan National Airport where the plane and helicopter crash happened.
You see so many aircraft very low approaching the airport, and it's normally a very safe operation, but it's a very busy one.
Mr. Speaker, it was really hard to find the words today following that devastating incident that took place over my district last night.
As does Delegate Adele McClure, who spoke about the crash on the House floor, asking the adjourn in honor of those who lost their lives.
This morning we were dismayed to learn that there were believed to be no survivors, and the family and loved ones of those we lost weigh heavy on our hearts this morning, Mr. Speaker.
A moment of silence was also held during the morning meeting of the Aviation and Aerospace Caucus. And while offering condolences to the victims, lawmakers also gave praise to the many first responders from Virginia and elsewhere who rushed to the crash to help.
It's something that they're never going to forget.
This includes Prince William County, where Senator Jeremy McPike serves as a volunteer assistant fire chief. He says they would be facing physical challenges in the immediate aftermath and mental ones for much longer.
When you deal with such a traumatic incident like that, what those first responders have to deal with and see, working as hard as they can to find any survivors and working through, unfortunately, the reclamation of bodies is just tremendously impactful.
Meanwhile, Governor Glenn Youngkin, who was on scene at Reagan this morning, says they are offering every support to the NTSB with their investigation into the crash. But right now, the focus is on those recovery efforts and providing support to the families of their loved ones. At the state capitol, Cameron Thompson, CBS 6 News.
We are also learning more tonight about some of the victims of last night's plane crash. 14 of them from the figure skating community and several with ties to Virginia. Next, how people who knew them are grieving their loss tonight. Zach?
Okay, another relatively mild day today with temperatures in the mid and upper 50s. We've got rain on the way, and that's rain for everyone. I'll take you through that hour-by-hour forecast when the news at 5 continues.
The Washington, D.C. mid-air collision is hitting the ice skating community especially hard this evening. U.S. Figure Skating confirms the plane's passengers included several of its members who had ties to clubs in Massachusetts and Virginia. Courtney Cole reports from Boston.
A makeshift memorial is growing at the Ashburn Ice House in Virginia, honoring victims of Wednesday's deadly mid-air collision.
It's a tough day. The staff is struggling.
Rob Lorenzen serves as the club's general manager and says some of his members were on American Airlines Flight 5342.
It's a shame that the community has to experience this, and the potential of several individuals no longer participating, it leaves a void.
The Skating Club of Boston is grieving the loss of 6 of its members who were returning from the World Figure Skating Championships and Development Camp in Kansas.
I just broke down. Just to hear the news in the morning was absolutely heartbreaking, knowing that it's going to impact a community of skaters.
Teen skaters Spencer Lane and Jenna Hahn, known for their talent and leadership, were traveling with their mothers, Jen Hahn and Christine Lane.
Spencer was a crazy kid, highly talented, like incredibly talented. Gina, just a wonderful kid, wonderful parents, great athlete, great competitor, loved by all.
2 esteemed club coaches, married couple Jenya Shiskova and Vadim Nomov, 1994 world champions, were also on board. They trained in St. Petersburg, Russia, before moving to the U.S. to train young skaters.
When you lose coaches like this, you lose the future of the sport.
The Skating Club of Boston lost 18 of its members in 1961 in another plane crash en route to the World Championships in Prague. Courtney Cole, CBS News.
A Midlothian ice skating community is also grieving tonight. Our Bill Fitzgerald sat down with some local skating coaches who knew some of the victims. They'll share their voices about the immeasurable loss ahead. That's going to be all new at 6. And stay with CBS 6 throughout the evening to learn the very latest on this deadly crash. You can find all of our coverage at WTVR.com. For now, live from inside Reagan National Airport, I'm Janine Samuels for CBS 6.
Now, from CBS 6, the Weather Authority, Chief Meteorologist Zach Daniel.
Well, we have a storm system headed our way. That's why the clouds have increased throughout the day. This one is going to bring rain and only rain, and it'll be rain for just about everybody here in the Commonwealth. Let me show you where we stand right now. It's been another nice afternoon, not as warm as yesterday, but 54 degrees will do. We have cloud cover now across most of the area. South-southeast wind at 6 miles an hour. Looking at other temperatures, they are mostly in the 50s. There are a couple exceptions. It is 46 in West Point, 49 in Williamsburg. And then on the other side of things, it's still 60 down in Danville. Okay, let's check out the view through our Sky Tracker camera. That's our Millionaire cam. You can see that mid-level overcast. And there's the big arc of moisture heading in our direction. It's kind of a combination of Pacific moisture. You see the plume here coming through Mexico and Texas, and also Gulf moisture coming up, feeding into this. And this is all going to be moving into Virginia as we get into tonight and through the day tomorrow into tomorrow night as well. There's the leading edge of the rainfall. That'll likely get here probably about 9 or 9:30 tonight. And you can see some radar echoes showing up, not reaching the ground just yet, but that will happen a little bit later on. Lows tonight are going to be in the 40s, so nobody's going to fall even close to freezing tonight. And highs tomorrow are going to be in the 50s north and west, 60s central sections. And look at this, some 70s down to our south and east. A big difference as a warm front lifts through the area. 100% chance of rain at 6 a.m., but the rain should taper off by lunchtime, and we'll have a break in the afternoon before another wave moves in tomorrow night. So 2 waves of rainfall. We'll track the first one here coming in tonight. This is 9 o'clock, the leading edge of a little bit of rainfall there. And then tomorrow morning, we're going to wake up to rain across the area. As we get into midday, most of the rain shifts to the north. May even see a few peaks of sunshine as it starts to really warm up tomorrow. And then as we get into the rush hour tomorrow, could have a few sprinkles around by 5 o'clock, a better chance of rain by 7 or 8 o'clock. So this will be the second big wave of rainfall, and all of that's out of here by about midnight tomorrow. Looks like the weekend will be dry for all areas. A good looking day on Saturday, and Sunday a little bit chillier. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast. 100% chance of rain. That's much needed rain, especially for you folks out in the northern neck and middle peninsula. You really need it. 64 the high, then 57 on Saturday. Nice looking day there. A little chillier on Sunday, but check out Monday, almost 70 degrees. Back down to the 50s Tuesday and Wednesday. Mid 60s again, though, a week from today with a few showers around.
In Richmond, 2 parents have been arrested in the death of their 5-month-old son last year. 32-year-old Jamel Bryant and 27-year-old Heather Hohense are charged with murder and child abuse. Their son died in August of 2024. Police were called to a German School Road apartment for an unresponsive child. The baby was pronounced dead at the hospital. Investigators tell us no additional information is being released at this time.
A busy Capitol Hill hosted confirmation hearings for 3 of President Trump's nominees today. That included another day of grilling for Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in his push to become the nation's health secretary. The Senate Health Committee's top Republican Senator Bill Cassidy is a physician, and he says he's concerned by what he calls Kennedy's misleading arguments about vaccines.
If you come out unequivocally, vaccines are safe, it does not cause autism, that would have an incredible impact.
If you show me data, I will be the first person to assure the American people that they need to take those vaccines.
Meanwhile, Tulsi Gabbard asked senators to confirm her as Director of National Intelligence, and Trump loyalist Kash Patel faced questions on his nomination to lead the FBI. While Trump's nominees make their cases to Congress, President Trump returned to a campaign theme, instructing schools to promote a patriotic education. An executive order threatens to withhold funding from schools that teach about gender ideology or critical race theory.
Our coverage of the deadly plane crash in the Potomac continues. Next at 5:30, we'll hear from a former air traffic controller about what may have happened, and from community members in Wichita, Kansas, as they process the fate of the flight that left from their city.